whatever keeps the town safe. You know, I want to keep my boy. And I think the town, I think, yeah, it's just. And I just want to keep my boy. And I like to think of the town as my family too. I just want to keep him safe, you know? And he just sort of like looks off to nothing.
And Lux is going to kind of lean more into the fact that he thinks that Lux is a woman. And just kind of like, tell me about the night of the attack. You must have been so brave.
Amazing. It's so good. Make a persuasion check.
At advantage because he's drunk?
I am
At advantage
I'm
because he's
adjusting
hot?
the DC appropriately. So make it a check.
Nineteen.
He says, well, I don't want to, I don't want to frighten, a beautiful young lady such as yourself with gruesome details, but it was dark.
There were 30 of them.
And they came in the middle of the night. Well, actually, no, it wasn't the middle of the night. To be honest with you, I was going to inflect a little bit, but I'm an honest man, I'm just so, you're just so beautiful, it's hard for me to, compose myself. And he just sort of pats himself on the cheek. Okay. So, what was previously the temple to the Bard's faith, a good friend of mine, Gregor, used to run that place. Him and his beautiful wife, Silda, and they had a wonderful son, the people called him Rev. He was adopted, stood out like a purple thumb, if you get my drift. And, he'd had a hard life, but he did well for himself. And so they ran that place. They had some other hands and whatnot. And they did weddings, right? So that's the Bard's faith. They're all about love and, art and connection and all that bullshit. So they're running the place.
Lex is just going to be like, the weddings.
Yes. And
oh my God.
And you can see Jack is like, in the thick of the conversation, fucking 4 sheets to the wind and just fucking going through it. So he's like, and so one day.
As Jack's telling the story, Rev is like not doing anything to stop him, but just kind of like flashing glances at you, Taj and Lux.
And he goes, so one day, doing this wedding, right? And then there's this big, it's like this, like, whatever, like, wealthy family or whatever, right? So like the groom's side is this wealthy, powerful family, and then the bride side is like, they're paupers, right? They're whatever. And I guess, the father or the groom or whatever was like, not about it. But, they come through and they're there to support their fucking son and shit. So basically the wedding's going down. And apparently, after investigation, turns out fucking groom's dad had connections to the cult of Bruta that stormed through the town and fucking just went in and attacked the temple during the wedding because they wanted to make it seem like it was a fucking, chance shit. But really, and he leans in, he goes, but really, the groom's father had them brought in to kill the bride. But what they didn't account for, fucking Gregor and Silda's kid. So we called him Rev. His name was Revelry, adopted kid. He was a tiefling. So he had the devil's blood in him, And you know the stories, right? C-Day, first murderer, father of the infernal kin, the tieflings. They came in. God's bless her. They took Silda out in the melee. And Rev, he fucking lost it. And he fucking tore those motherfuckers apart. I mean, I'm talking blood and guts everywhere. The shit was fucking crazy. Needless to say, it took a long time to clean up, but that's neither here nor there. But I got in there with the guards afterwards, and we cleaned up. Made sure it was okay. Granted, there was a few people in the melee that may or may not have been assailed as well, and I had to do what I had to do. We had a trial. I didn't want to put the kid down. The kid was doing the right thing, but townsfolk may or may not have been caught up in the whole situation, and I had to do what I had to do. So as the magistrate, to calm everybody down, to keep my people safe, I sent Revelry on his way, and we set up a little bit more guards over at the post. We cleaned everything up, and we took care of Gregor. We took care of him. Unfortunately, with the new rules and regulations and everything like that, you know how Rionok is, right? They're really strict about that kind of shit. And so if you're not worshiping, if you're not worshiping Tor or a few other of those motherfuckers, you gotta be on your way. So Gregor made his way out. Last I heard, he was heading over to either Herthold or maybe he was planning on making his way to Umber, but God's blessing, Something I said?